All right, so I don't know where I was last time, but as of now, I have. This is a couple days later. I'm doing this, hour here, hour there. I've ground out the area that was damaged. This chamber was like way up here, so a good chunk of it had to come out down here, about 10 cc's, and then I had to grind the peak off. This was kind of peaked down in between these two. The radius just followed over. Had to grind that out. There is a little bit of damage in the casting there, in the billet piece there. But I think when I mill the head, that'll come off. So that's the amount of the material removal. Because you're welding, you have to clean a little bit further. So I went through with the sand roll after the carbide and just cleaned a little bit back. Had to clean in a little bit inside the seats so none of that kind of burned. Turn that black, you got to prep everything a lot. So that's the billet head. I'm going to weld up. I have a couple heads here I got to weld up. A big block Hemi, a small block head, and this billet head. I'm going to weld them all up today, and then I got a intake manifold I got to weld on. So today I'm going to do some welding. I have all the materials in. I talked to the customer. I told him I wasn't going to be starting on his project until next week, but since I'm going to be doing some welding today, I figured, let me just clean up and start on the welding because, this, even like the OD on the seats, everything is, just extra time with something like this. It's not like you just have the OD cutter that you always use for the 3228 and just cut them in and then put the seats in. This is a lot more involved. Going over to the mill and, setting up the counterbore cutters, all different, coming in small, keep coming in and measuring the seat. It takes a lot of time to put in one seat, let alone two different OD seats that aren't normal OD. And the seats that we did get for these are the copper beryllium, a little bit oversized to make up for the fact that one was ovaled, and this one was completely destroyed as well. But you always got to install a little bit bigger seat when you're replacing seats, for obvious reasons. So just got this cleaned up. I'll get some weld in it. And all the materials are here for this: titanium valves, copper beryllium seats, and the custom bronze guides. And we'll get this all welded in, and next time you see it, it'll be all welded. All right, next up. All right, so it's the next day. I don't know where I left off on the welding process of the billet head, big block billet head. So I ended up grinding out everything. I don't know if I showed that. And then doing the fill weld. You can see this radius. This was followed back to here. This was followed back to here. But the valve that broke off damaged all this area, like I said in I think the previous video, there's some light marking up here. I think I'll be able to mill that out. But had to fill weld all this stuff in so that way I can reshape it and mill it down. This will probably be a process. I might have to go back in and weld it again. I won't know until I start cutting the seats in. Something I did notice though, if you look how thick this, like where the seat would sit down, this ledge is here, and then how thin it is here, it's almost non-existent. It's almost like when they were porting, they were sanding the bottom of the seat off and sanded into the seat barely down to nothing here, compared to over here. You can see how thick the seat is, and then here it's like literally like a 32nd of an inch, like the width of my fingernail-ish. We are going to be putting in a little bit bigger OD seat, but the ID, this is the intake, so the air is going to be coming this way, so it's either going to hit the bottom of the seat or we're going to have to take the seat material back out. This is caused from over porting of the head. I can also tell by the thickness here and by the thickness that's right down underneath this welded area, this is also thinner too. And I mean, right here and right here are usually the most common, like, ported on areas. Everyone's usually blending back here and blending over here. And these areas, you know, the seat gets worn down. Now in this area it's fine. Well, not fine, but you know, you could see the shape. You can see how that might help the shape. But if the seat's thin there, you can see just how